So I think I promised my friend Chris I would do some more blogging for my Tumblr, and so yeah, that's what I'm up to right now. I was gonna show you guys something kind of cool. So I've actually had people hit me up and be like, "Hey, so I haven't seen you use an amp on stage in a while," and I'm like, "It's because I don't use an amp. I actually I run a couple of things, a couple of programs, and one in particular is this one right here that just popped up. It's called Mainstage Live. It comes with Logic, it's back when they used to bundle things, and impressively, it is ridiculously awesome. People like John Legend, The Killers, they use it live. Easier than carrying a bunch of gear. You just back up your templates, and what it is, it allows you to create a template of your own based off what kind of performance you're doing using Logic's plugins. But also you're allowed to use third-party stuff, mapping it out. It's really cool. And here's like a sneak peek on how I get the sound I do for Otenki, like when you're doing. And I'm playing on my new Les Paul Studio I got for the holiday. It's pretty awesome. So the way it's laid out is that it's actually kind of, sort of, not perfectly aligned, but it's based off of my FBV shortboard, which is down there. Yeah, you see that guy? Yeah, and I'm totally wearing Christmas PJ pants, by the way. Don't laugh. And everything's mapped out kind of pretty close to what it is. Couple of adjustments, and I'll show you some inside tricks and stuff that I do in the studio that I like to do live. So one thing in particular is I will show you the actual amps I use, and that is in Guitar Rig 5. Pretty awesome. Guitar Rig 5 Pro is pretty sick. So I know it's kind of difficult to see. I'll try to see if I can get you a better view of it. But over here, what I'm using is a program based off the Lead 800, which is an amp I used to own and use early on back in the day, the JSM 800 2203. Very familiar with the amp, and I'm very impressed by Guitar Rig, how close they get to it. It's pretty damn close for being fake for digital. It's real, but it ain't real. And kind of like I've always done, I like to split my signal between two amps, and the second amp is actually based off of a high watt 100 head, which I would never own because they're freaking awesome and expensive, and yeah, and it's white Tolex on here, so it's pretty rad. Those things are super expensive, but they sound great. And I'll turn off the JSM 800, and you get like this real kind of just raw, kind of overdriven, just raw sound, and I like that. I like big fan of Alex Lifeson from what's called Rush, and he uses Hughes and Kettner amps, and one's always wet and one's always dry, and so I like to play along with that. And so actually, the more drier sounding amp in my little stew, I actually add a reverb, post signal, so it's pretty rad, pretty neat effects chain. And this one has a fast compression unit on channel B, and then on A I just use noise reduction because JSM 800s are like just the most raw amp you could use. So the better they sound is when you crank the master, and you get your presence up, and it's all balls, Angus Young kind of. But you get a lot of noise, which is great because the emulated tune noise is awesome on here. Mind you, I'm also using a duet, the new duet from Apogee, or the latest one, and that thing's pretty cool. Does color your sound, but it works great with Mainstage because they're made for each other. Logic stuff, Apogee stuff. Great A to D, D to A converter, if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so that guy is in there. I'm also using a lot of stuff that's built into Mainstage. And one thing in particular is the pedal board. And so it's like I have a pedal board inside my pedal board. It's kind of tight. Really cool thing about pedal board is that unless you spend a lot of time like me messing with the damn computer and messing around with stuff, so you don't have to carry an amp to a show anymore. You can actually mess with the signal chain and how it flows, and you can have an A and B, and what's affecting what. So it's pretty tight. I have a compressor affecting the overdrive pedal, which is going to affect the chorus, and nothing is in front of my amp. It's all in the effects chain, which is cool. And yes, if you can see, I have a retro chorus, and I think it's kind of based off like a Maxon analog pedal or something. I don't know. That's what it kind of looks like. Old school. Maybe an Ibanez. I don't know. But I like running chorus. Anything that thickens up tone in the digital world is a good thing. And a lot of stuff that applies to vocals you can use with guitar because of the high register. So with that being said, here's another little thing I got going on. I have my delay running off an auxiliary track and a total separate track for a whole different reverb, which is kind of just something to make it sound really wide. But the real kicker is going to be the doubler, and this is from Waves. You would actually use this on a vocal signal. Sounds so awesome. Bands like Linkin Park, they use that on their guitars a lot. Super wide, top 40, thick ass sound, and it's so awesome. And everything's programmed, and I can put it in my performance mode, and you just basically see my pedal board set up without seeing everything. My meters basically tell me how much a wet signal I got going on inside the pedal board. This is the VU is exactly what a VU tells you where your level's at. If you watch it, if you can see it, if you can actually see it. I have a tap tempo mapped out, and the 3 ones that are blanked out, well, they're not mapped to anything, so they're ghost until I make them something. Like you can see the little pedal, if you can move up and down, that's mapped out. So once I start kicking stuff in, you see it lights up, and it'll be like, okay, well, I want that chorus to kick in. There's my modulation. I want my delay, my reverb. I want my big sound, and bam, super overdriven kind of sound. And you hear all that post signal, cool stuff going on. Right, and I can crank up the wet and stuff, but I mean I'll do it on my computer. The actual thing that I'm doing is I am using a live cabinet, doing a cross blend of direct signal and then having it mic'd up, using a 44 caliber little solid state pedal. It's awesome, and so I get the best of both worlds live. But I've run this setup through actual amps to see how much coloring is going on, and man, it's pretty awesome. So there you go. There's a little inside thing on what I use live. So Gibson guitars and Mainstage live with a bunch of cool producer stuff going on. So yeah, that's it. All right, there you go, Chris.